is a thermal imaging camera. So, why do we use this? Come on, ghost hunting show fans.
Because if there's like the orb he was talking about at the church, there's going to be heat. I'm just guessing.
No, it's a good guess. You're in the opposite direction. Cold.
Oh.
Just like...
I kind of thought because humans have a very small frequency that we can actually see with our visible eye.
You're thinking more auras.
Well, I was thinking like, you know, like light frequencies. Like there's the visible rays, and then there's different like gamma rays. I don't know. I'm a science major.
Well, perfect. So this only sees temperature. So do you guys see me in that camera? I should be orange, red, and yellow.
Yeah.
So everything around me should be blue and black.
Yes.
You take me out of the picture, it's going to fluctuate based on, now the leaves up there should be orange, red, and yellow, because it's always going to find your hot and cold spots. We're looking for cold spots, like the old adage that ghosts create cold spots, right? You get the chills, your hair stands up on end kind of thing. Like, same principle. It does occur. So I get excited whenever I see anything drop in temperature pretty quickly by about 10 to 15 degrees. So if something drops that much in a short amount of time, it's more than likely going to create a blue spot on the screen. So for example, if there was a cold spot going across, it would literally be a blue blob going across my face that is orange, red, and yellow. Does that make sense? Yeah. So we're really looking for those blue and black spots. Black is the absolute coldest on here. White is the absolute hottest. So it sets a white, hot, black, cold. So just kind of think of a shadow as being cold. Okay. So you are going to be my camera person all night. You're going to hold it horizontal just like that. You just covered up the camera with your finger.
I love that. Okay.
Do you see the red square on there?
Yeah.
Make sure it stays a red square. If it turns to a circle, hit it again and let me know, because then I'll have to splice two videos together for you.
Okay.
Okay, so that is going to record everything all night long, as long as she holds it out and we don't see her pocket. And again, you'll probably mess it up if you're in your pocket anyway.
Okay.
But you're going to literally keep it out all night, so that way we have a nice video. It also records audio, so we have another point of reference for EVPs. So in case it doesn't come up on mine, it'll come up on there. So. Cool. You seem like you're pretty hip to most of this already, so we're going to go with a spirit box with you. So I'm going to explain what a spirit box is. Spirit boxes go through FM radio stations very quickly. So on the ghost hunting shows, they have them set very fast. It sounds like static, okay, just basically like white noise. I have this one slowed down a little bit so that radio chatter can come through. In your TV shows, they normally tell you what they think they heard. We don't have that here. You have to tell me what you heard. So with that being said, I slowed it down so that way you have more to listen to. So you're going to hear radio DJs, you're going to hear song lyrics, commercials, you're going to hear all of that stuff. Sorry, I'm not a big projected voice type person. The traffic gets in my way. And I know, I'm supposed to be a talker. And so, with this one, how this one actually works is it's already recording for us, even when it's on mute. It doesn't record any of us. It's only going to record the radio sweeps. So as you can see, it's flipping through those radio stations pretty quickly. So if she hears something, even out of one of those DJs, it could be a message based on the type of questions that we're going to ask later on. Okay, so I'm going to tell you guys just enough history about these places so that you know what you're listening for, we know what we're watching for, and I'm going to kind of give you the history of the place of what I've caught in the past. You only need to worry about one button. It's at the very top. It's a turnstile for the volume. Okay. So obviously when I'm telling stories, and I'll say spirit box is down, and then obviously spirit box is back up again. Okay. Okay, so that'll be kind of your cue to go ahead and listen. But again, we're going to kind of go further with the training into the next location.
Where's the camera? Oh, there's the camera. Okay.
Hip to everything so far? Is this all making sense?
Well, I mean, they can learn as they go.
What's that?
On the job training.
Yeah.
She said they can learn as they go.
They will. So, electromagnetic fields. You guys probably seen these on your shows. This is the most common one because it is the most sensitive. It does measure 3 different types of electromagnetic fields. The first one is natural from the Earth. Okay, so that's why it's on green and it's not doing anything. The second type that it's going to measure is from electronic devices and wiring. So like our parking meters and cell phones are going to make it go into a pulse, like a steady rhythm. We don't want that either.
Should we turn our phones off?
Nope. Leave them on. It would literally have to be touching it. You see the pulse? It's going to give it in 2s, it looks like. But it's giving it a little bit of a blink. Okay, so it would literally have to be touching it. The field actually has to be strong enough to be able to touch this. Cell phone doesn't give it off. Like if I had it over here, it wouldn't do anything.
Okay.
It literally have to be touching it. The third one is where it goes a little crazy and erratic, and it's all over the board. So that's what we're looking for. It doesn't make any noise. It doesn't vibrate. So you literally kind of have to watch those lights to see what it's going to be doing.
And do you scream if it happens?
So also keep in mind, I don't get excited when one device goes off. So again, when I'm looking at this in the morning as a collective, I'm going to remember that the EMF went off on a certain area, but we didn't see anything else. So I'm going to listen to the audio, the spirit box when it was down on mute, those kind of things. I'm going to look for those time frames on those areas to see if there was anything else that matched up to it. It might not always be in real time. That's why we do what we do is we record it so we can review it all later and look at the timestamps as we go. So the audio is always the best point of reference of when things were turned on, so to speak, because I'm explaining each device. And we're going to make things nice and simple for you as well.
Thank you. Because I don't want to record. I'll be shaking. People won't be steady.
You'll be fine. You'll be perfectly fine. So I don't normally hand this to kids anyway because they don't know what it is. So this is a simple point-and-shoot camera.
Yes.
There's no flash. We don't want flash for a reason. Okay? Flash causes, if she takes pictures of the building, then we're going to have to analyze all kinds of different lights and all kinds of weirdness. Take as many pictures as you want. The rule of thumb is because I do post these publicly, none of your party can be in the picture.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, so you could take tourist pictures. I'll even point out a few touristy spots. When you're taking pictures, because there's no flash, take 2 of everything and be as still as possible. Because if you move, it's going to be wavy. And if I'll have to analyze all the different wavy lights to make sure they're all in the same pattern.
Okay.
Also keep in mind, my wife is the one who designs and does all my graphic design work for Stories in the Cemetery. She did the logo, she does all my book covers, all of that stuff. So she's the one who gets the pictures when I can't figure it out. That's what she went to school for. We're actually the perfect duo. I know, right? We have to capture ghosts with the camera.
How could you still capture them?
we might need to trade. You're not very good at being still.
You guys are all together. Feel free to intermingle, and believe it or not, there's actually a whole bag more full of stuff. So if we have to verify something that's going on with your camera, I have a number of thermometers that we can test to either prove or disprove what's happening. I have another spirit box. I have lasers. I have all kinds of mess. So again, this bag is chock full of devices, and again, that's why I keep it small. So on the spirit boxes, for example, I usually give that to 2 people. So when I have a full group of 10, that way they can verify each other. Each spirit box goes to a pair of people. That person is usually paired up with the person with the thermometers. That person with the camera usually gets paired up with the lasers because we want to capture things with the lasers. As far as that goes, that usually goes to my skeptic, the person who doesn't believe in ghosts.
You got the right one.
Yeah,
you got the right one.
Okay, so if it starts blinking, do I say something?
Yeah, you're going to speak up every time you see something go off that green. And we're going to either debunk it, like we're going to prove that it's something man-made, or we're going to prove that it's from something else. Either way.
Should I be like moving around with this, or just?
Okay, with each location, I'm going to give you all very specific direction.
Okay.
I'll have specific devices. Obviously, it's going to be looked at as a whole, and everything here except for your device records, but I'm also going to use a few things on my phone. So here's what makes the tour super interesting.
Can I ask you how you knew she was the skeptic?
I didn't. I'll be honest, I didn't. I'm just telling you where it normally goes. It normally goes to that skeptic.
Oh,
because that is the most active tool that we have. So, I do have a backup EMF in case your battery drains. It does happen. Not often, but it does happen. Basically, ghosts steal the energy from the cell battery that's in there, and I have to use mine in a pinch.
Okay.
I do use 2 different types of spirit boxes on my phone. The first one's actually going to give us 1 word at a time in the center of the screen, and then it's going to save it to a list. You're going to get this entire list back. 80% of this list means absolutely nothing. It's complete BS. So we're going to clear out the last tour. This is actually meant to be a game and a hoax. So the 15 to 20% that we do get, I can relate it with verifiable evidence, and I give you links to everything. Say, for example, we're here. This place used to be called Big John's, and I'm going to tell you the story in a minute. But let's say that the word Giants comes up on my screen. John used to play for the New York Giants in 1947. That would be a relatable term. So I would put, John Kennedy used to play for the New York Giants. This is where we were standing. Here's the link to show where he was and where he played. So, see where I'm going with this? That's how I kind of give you guys the verifiable evidence. The other one that I use is called a reverse spirit box. So what does it do? I debunked this one already too. So basically, it is a man and a woman saying random words, and then they flip the audio backwards. It's going to sound like complete gibberish to us here in real time, but in the event I ask a question and get an intelligent answer, it's going to come through in forward motion. And I'm going to play an EVP I got from this right after I show you guys actually how this guy works. So just so you guys know, because this is what you're going to hear on your audio. Traffic makes it difficult. So complete gibberish, right? So let me play the EVP. This was just a few weeks ago. I was talking about a woman from England, and this is probably one of the strongest EVPs I've ever gotten. And it didn't make any sense to me at first until somebody on my tour explained it. I'll play it again.
Baked beans for breakfast?
Baked beans for breakfast? Like beans on toast. If it's
Okay,
England.
so here's what happened. Your spirit box told me, I'll fix you, baked beans breakfast, and then the digital list gave me the word tea, all within 2 minutes of each other. I was talking about a woman from England. That was a breakfast back in the 1700s. I'll fix you, baked beans breakfast, and tea.
Okay.
See how I put all those clues together at the same timestamps? So that's, like, I was flabbergasted because I was like, wow, that's super clear. So what will happen on your audio is if I hear something and if I'm walking ahead of you and I'll have it turned on, because a lot of times I try to stay away from you so that audio doesn't intermix, I'll say what I heard and then say rewind by 5 seconds, because you guys are going to get this audio back in MP3 format. So you can do whatever you want to with it. So again, I don't always review it, but when I get something that strong, I'm all over it. I want to find out what else was going on around that time. So I can use the reverse spirit box and the digital, this one, all at the same time. I just have to turn my volume up and down. So let's talk about this building. Any questions so far? I know you guys probably have a ton. Really? You got nothing?
I'm only concerned. I might not enjoy it. You gave me a job. I'm just teasing.
I gave you a job. Did you not know what you signed up for?
I told you it was
interactive.
I signed
No,
her
I
up for
really
it.
did not know.
I told you it was interactive.
It'll be
So
fun.
here's a little chuckle for y'all. My wife just sewed on some patches for me, and if you guys can take a look at that one.
It's cute.
Ghost
Lives Matter.
So my last group wanted to take pictures of it, so I was like, oh, okay, whatever. So anyway, let's talk about this place here for a second. This place used to be called Big John's. They're turning it into something else now, but even, it was Kane's Rum Bar, but let's talk about Big John's. So Big John, again, played for the 1947 New York Giants, and he used to sit in the back of the bar, and he would nod off to the bartender if the cadets that were coming over from the Citadel were of age or not. And one night, 2 guys came in, Big John tells the bartender to cut them off, they're not of age, so they get mad, they leave, they come back the next night, and they try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. So Big John pulls out his gun, he shoots, he kills, the bullet ricochets and lands in the wall. It's not the ghost of the man he killed that haunts the place. It's the paranormal activity of the bullet hole in the wall. It is said at times people sitting in the front of the bar will not start to feel well. Dizzy, headache, queasiness. I bring this up on purpose. I know how this tour is going to affect me. I know how paranormal activity is going to affect me, but I don't know how it's going to affect any of you. If anybody's not feeling well, the slightest headache, I need to know to either move you along, get you a bottle of water, do whatever I need to do. The first time somebody passed out on my tour from too much activity on a nice cool night like this, I was in CPR class the next day. It's happened on more than one occasion. Again, I don't say this to scare you, it is serious. So, it is a big deal to me that you guys speak up for somebody else that's not feeling well, okay? And again, they were cool nights, January, February, actually kind of chilly, and somebody passed out for the first time. Witches normally take this tour and they don't make it all the way through. I would say witches are just basically people that practice Wiccan magic. They just don't make it. It's too much. So, not to make things a little sour, sorry about that, but I do like to give that little forewarning out there. The other ghost story that actually happens here is we had a big earthquake here in 1886. If you guys took any other history tour here, you probably already knew that because every other tour talks about it. The first death occurred here. A the mantling that's above your heads also wraps around the front of the building, and a piece of it broke off and struck somebody in the head. And the previous owner of this bar, his name was Paul, he's said to be seeing like some crazy ghost shadow people out in the middle of East Bay Street after closing. So I don't have proof of that myself, but I do take Paul's word for it. He does love the stories that I tell about Big John. He's not here anymore. He moved to Florida when COVID hit. So this place is turning into something new. We'll see what it turns into. And it's probably going to be another bar, I'm sure. But it's not really a good starting point for my guests, because then they come on the tour a little too tipsy. So, but you guys ready to go ghost hunting?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, let's do this. We're going to
So
head this
do we
way.
have to leave our masks on?
So the first couple places, that's completely up to you. Honestly, I don't care.
I'm just fogging up.
Yeah,
Those are my glasses.
Yeah.
I'm just
I wear glasses too, but I leave them in the car because when I do have to mask up, that's the first thing that happens.
Yeah.
If I have to watch a video and I'm playing with things all over my face, and then the whole mask is pointless anyway.
I'll do it now.
Try one time to
I would not walk in that. That might fall on your head.
I like want to see something, but I don't want to. I'll be so scared.
Yeah.
You'll be just fine.
Oh,
You're in good
where
company.
I'm going.
Oh, look at you. See? You got this. You were worried. I just got the word European. Just so everybody knows, we were talking about the young lady from England and the baked beans breakfast. So, just kind of showing you. And I got the word immigration and parent. That's interesting too, because that also relates to that story. And you guys will learn that one next. So, let me tell you what's going on here before we actually really dive into what your devices do. So, there is a restaurant right over there called Crew Cafe. They have an alleged haunting of a suicide that occurred there. However, I don't have enough data to really dive into it because it used to be a slave home. Slave homes did not have addresses. So for me to find titles and deeds and all of that, like, it's really, really difficult to verify that they have any kind of haunting there. I might find evidence, but if I can't verify where it came from, I almost don't want to do the investigation. So that's, and also it's a 2-story home, which also tells me that it's either reconstruct, it's an addition, like it's an add-on something. I don't know what's going on with the building either. So I did walk through and did get a small EMF upstairs, but I can probably, if I'm there long enough, debunk it with the old wiring that's in the place. Right past that, for you history buffs, there's a stop sign. So everybody kind of picture the peninsula of Charleston in your heads. It was much skinnier back in the 1700s. So a Revolutionary War ship rolls up from behind us, shoots a cannon, and it lands right at that stop sign. No deaths, no tragedies, no paranormal activity. Just one of those little history nuggets that I was like, I'm going to add that to the tour. Just one of those little weird things. And it was a neighborhood at that time as well. So very interesting that there was no deaths or tragedies. I'm sure there was maybe some injuries, but nothing tragic. So where are you now? That was funny. So we did get the word victories. I'm talking about Revolutionary War.
I'm going off the...
I know. I'm watching it.
I should take pictures.
I know, that's why I'm going like this, so you can see. Oh, teacher.
This is the Red Barn Lot. This is where they keep the horses for your carriage rides. The horses are still in there. So we're not going to spook the horses with too loud of a... I'm looking to see which devices we have. We don't have any lasers out. I normally give the warning with the lasers. Because the lasers will spook the horses and they'll kick the wall and scare the bejesus out of all of us. So, you're going to keep your spirit box at an audible level. So let's talk about that spirit box for a second. Here's how we go about asking questions. Now, most of your TV shows, I know you're excited to use it.
Yeah.
We'll start asking questions like random.
Oh, okay.
Like they just start spitting them off. Why did you kill so and so? And Zach Bagans beats the wall and all that mess. We're not doing that. That's not how we do things. That's not how it actually goes. You're gonna pick a question, something that's a non-yes or no question. Okay? Something you might already know the answer to. We're gonna start with something easy. For example, what color is the barn?
Oh, just to see if they're here.
Just to see if they're here.
Okay.
Like the question, is somebody here with us, is a yes or no question. If you hear the word houses, you think you heard the word yes.
Oh, okay.
We don't want to use yes or no questions because S and O in the phonetic English language are two of the most common sounds we have. So I don't do yes or no questions. There's always a way to rephrase it. You also don't want to ask that what color is the barn several times within a very short amount of time. You want to give them a little time to muster up the energy to maybe find the right voice to tell you that it's red.
Okay.
So you wait 30 seconds and you listen. If you don't get an answer, maybe rephrase it. Can you tell me what color the barn is? Also keep in mind, not all ghosts are hip to our language of today's world, or
I need to speak a different language?
no, I want you to speak in a very plain language.
Okay.
Use the box with the red lights.
Can I ask it questions like about us? Not personal,
If
just
you
like
like.
plain.
How many of us are there? What color is my
Exactly, that's what I
shirt?
was
Yes,
gonna say,
you can.
yeah.
The only thing I ask is that we don't provoke. Okay, we're
Okay.
going to pretty happy places tonight. Like these are pretty solid historical stories that people like to be remembered for. So telling you stories tonight of just like tonight, like the only history I have of this building, just so you guys know, it's the same red barn where the horses were kept that delivered milk to Charleston. That's all I got. Just dates it for you, 1860s to 1920s, roughly. There's no other history here, but I get a ton of activity as proof of the EMF meter. So we're going to get nice slow sweeps of the whole lot. So basically, oh, got the name Ryan. It's interesting. So you're literally going to go through the whole lot and just get us a nice slow sweep. You have a ton of different materials in here. You have metal, asphalt, wood, brick, foliage, cars. You got all kinds of stuff. You're going to see how that temperature varies from item to item. If you move too fast, it's not our cell phones of today as far as the camera technology. It will pixelate like an old flip phone. Okay? We want the thermal imaging technology. That's why it's so expensive. We're a house. This is going to be an interesting night for you guys. So whenever I get a name, especially in this lot, I got the name Ryan. I always look at the roster that played with Big John because I get a lot of teammates from here. So we're talking 1950s of when these people played with him. So, but again, that's what we're going to be doing with your camera. As far as your camera, look at those darker areas. Maybe get a picture or two of the EMF going crazy. You know, this is at your leisure. Just be careful of the cars. Some people get a little weird by their cars getting photos taken of. But we're really going to be focused on it. It looks like the four of you are going to be working together anyway. I don't think any of you want to separate.
That was going to be my question. Can we stay together? No,
Yeah, we can stay together. It's perfectly fine. Let's go. We're already getting. Oh, look, now it's going on.
No,
Is it on, Mom?
I don't know.
Probably not. It shuts itself off.
I can't see.
Okay, there's a very big button all the way to the right. That's the shoot button. The one next to it is the on button. There you go.
Oh, I was going to say, look, it'll light up. It's not I'm going to be like freaking out the whole time.
You'll be perfectly fine.
Mother.
Let's turn your spirit box on. Just enough for all of us to hear it. And we want to be
Your sunglasses in this, Mom, or your glasses or whatever.
If you go back to that, like if it goes all the way up and back up.
I don't like that.
So, a lot of times what I'll do with that particular device, get a question on something actually here, Aaron is asking about the barn, how much the color is. So like, look, we're already gone. So I call ghost hunting. We gotta find where they went off to. Ghost isn't gonna hang out and say, look at me, I'm right here. So it's really about moving around and trying to find that hot spot. We wait and ask more questions because there's more than likely something nearby. We get some pictures. So basically, you know right now you're listening for the color red.
Yeah, yeah.
So
How do I know what's just like radio?
Hey, ask a
music
question.
and what's actually-
that's
Can I ask a question?
so. Have you seen the Transformers?
Right here, Mom. Right here.
We want that radio channel.
Oh, okay.
They're gonna use the DJ's voice to give you the message. It doesn't matter what gender it is. If somebody says, and then there's a red light.
Okay.
Oh,
Have
that
it
was
red.
four over here. You should ask questions.
Right here.
And I got the word question.
Should I ask your question again or a different
Go for
one?
it. Go for it.
What kind of animals are in the barn?
I didn't tell you to ask that.
Yeah?
But that's usually the second question that I have people ask.
Oh, really? I was just trying to think of something and that came to my head.
That's crazy.
I was going to say the white pigs. White pigs.
Those are sandbags. We get a lot of flooding down here. As I'm sure you can imagine.
Can we wait or just keep walking and like follow?
Well, we're going to kind of wait to see if we can. Okay. Obviously, we've got some cleaning up. Can you tell us what kind of animals are in that barn? They got fans on in there. They can't hear that well. Upscale? See how I took that word? Yeah. Delivered for you.
Didn't they deliver milk?
The
Thank
horses
you.
deliver. The horses deliver.
They delivered milk.
They deliver.
Yeah.
Stations.
See how I put the clues together? This is how this works.
Okay.
This is why you're not going to freak out on it. So what type of horses are in that barn? Can you tell me that? The word is draft. They were draft horses.
I'm just gonna record detail with her.
Yeah. I have a fun tool.
They're the word making. And the cool thing about that is it's not recording us. It's only recording.
That's good. I was worried about that.
Have you ever gotten like?
So what's the frequency when she asks the question? Like, so she says, can you tell me what type of horse it is? And then you get an answer. Like, how long do you wait?
I usually wait about 30 seconds.
Okay. And then you just ask the same one over, or you ask a different one?
I ask the same question.
Okay.
And I might rephrase it. And I'll go maybe 4 or 5 times. If I still don't get an answer, then this person, if they're here, by this guy telling me that they're here, then I'll say, okay, let's just move on to another part.
Have you ever gotten like figures or anything with the thermal camera?
Yep. Sure have. I actually caught some last week. So the photos are actually going to go to the Stories in the Cemetery Facebook page, and then there's an evidence folder. And if you actually scroll through, I clipped out that video where we actually caught 2 people on video that were not supposed to be there. So it's pretty unmistakable. We had 2 people walking along a wall, so you could see their heads, like they're pretty prominent, and then literally 20 seconds later, 2 opposite people were coming the opposite way, but they were black in color.
Oh.
It said the word tease, so it's teasing you. It's messing with you. Alright, you guys ready to go learn some history?
So this isn't real then? I mean,
It is real.
I mean, it's only when it's red.
It's teasing you in a sense that it kind of gets the gist that you're not a full believer. So it's going to give you just enough. They're going to hang out. So example, let's say this, see the electric box over there? Okay, let's say you were getting an orange over here, and you're like, oh, it's probably just that electrical box. You should have a solid red on that box, and it will slowly fade as you back away from it. That's how I kind of go about testing. Where is it coming from? None of the electrical boxes around here, by the way, I've tested them all thousands of times, actually give off enough for us to get anything here in the center, and we're walking over a sewer line. There's no reason. There's not even wiring above us right now. there's no reason why that should be going on whatsoever. Now, it's not always the same patterns either. It might actually start where you got your first little blip. It might wait until I leave and say, wait, I got something to say. It's just, it varies night to night. Every tour is different. You guys have good questions. Keep those up. You guys are keeping me on my toes.
I'm 19.
Ask a question.
Ask a question. Which one?
Whatever you want.
What color is the barn? They didn't answer.
How many people are in the parking lot right now? Does it know the word parking lot?
No,
We have activity.
It was really active, so we were having her ask a question.
Okay. What did you ask?
I asked how many people are in the parking lot, but then I was like, it probably doesn't know the word parking lot.
So you do another talking besides
How many
the
of us
question.
are there?
How many of us are here? That kind of thing.
Okay.
So, we're going to learn more about that. Come on.
Okay, let's go.
You're like a Ghostbuster.
Oh, oh.
Well, let's get you some relative questions to ask because that
Can we say,
EMF,
do you have something to say?
if there is, like,
How would we know?
if it starts there, we're going to have a strong.
So you've got to ask relative questions, Mother, not random. You got to hear the history first, and
Right,
then you have to
exactly.
ask the question,
Oh, I see.
Exactly.
not just random.
Okay.
All right, so let's get you guys out of the only entrance and exit. So, keep in mind too, when we're asking those questions, that answer can go anywhere. We have audio there, audio here. My 2 spirit boxes are yours.
So might not necessarily go here.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
So a lot of times what I'll do, especially when I have a full group of 10 and there's 2 spirit boxes out plus everything else that you guys have. Yeah, this is going to be good for you guys. It's pretty strong reading right there. Again, there's nothing here that's making that go off. You can get a strong reading, but not a strong red light. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll ask a weird question that I didn't tell you guys to go ask this spirit box somewhere else. I'll say like, okay, how many people are already with me? That's a very specific number. And there's 4, not 5. So I wait for that answer, and then somebody comes around and says, I heard the number 4. There's the proof. Because that we have here that I asked away from you, how many people are with me, and the answer came up like that. Does that make sense? Yeah. So let me tell you what's going on here. This is actually, I know it's going to be parking lots, but this is a very important part of Charleston history. Notice how it died down a little bit. Just wait for me to say her name. Eliza. There it is. So, Charles and Eliza Pinckney. This is where they lived. Okay, so we're talking late 1700s. Charles and Eliza had a son named Charles and a nephew named Charles. So there's 3 Charles. Father, son, nephew. The son and the nephew, signers of our Constitution. Pretty big deal for Charleston. I hate politics. We're going to move on to Eliza. I'll tell the important fact. There it is. So Eliza and Charles got married because Eliza didn't want to go back home to England, baked beans breakfast. This is where that occurred. That's where she's from. Her father thought he was dying and he wanted all his kids home, but she didn't want to go. So she got married, became a U.S. citizen, and stayed here. Family's going really well. Dad got better. He started sending her gifts. So the layout of this whole land was the mansion was in the front. Eliza's garden was lined up with us right here in that first tree, and then the slave quarters were here in the back. So one of those plants that Dad was one of the gifts he has in was the pump indigo. So drive around town, you'll see more indigo. This is where it's this is where it started because indigo as a plant has a very deep Gullah culture to it. So it's been here hundreds of years. But Eliza said, okay, let me see what I can do with this because our rice plantations went downhill. We needed a new cash crop. And indigo makes blue dye. Did you guys learn this on your Gullah tour? Okay, so you guys know it makes, we still use it today for blue jeans? Yeah. So again, she was also the businesswoman that sold it overseas. So this was her home. Like businesswomen in the 1700s, not heard of. So Eliza is a pretty big deal. So a few questions and weird facts about Eliza for you are, she was the second wife named Eliza from Charles. So she goes by her maiden name. So it's Eliza blank Pinkney. They had 4 kids, only one was a daughter. Try to find out what the daughter's name is. Notice I'm not giving you the answers.
Yeah.
Find out anything about her death, how old she was, what she died from, where she died, where she's buried, any of those things. Ask away. She's totally free and open and give you the answers.
She's wondering.
Yeah.
She's like, come on, let's communicate.
She's ready for a Q&A.
You
Yeah,
can
ask
also
her.
you can also ask about the mansion.
Okay.
What happened to it, what's been here since their mansion, so forth and so on.
Okay.
But again, any of those questions, anything else you might want to ask her, just as long as you're not provoking and trying to make her angry. Some people like, did Charles ever cheat on you? I'm like, stop, you're going to make everything stop. So, and usually when that kind of thing happens, the EMF dies back down to green, you get nothing. Oh, did you guys want to see that video from the other night?
Yeah.
Wait, is she the only one that can ask questions for me?
No. You
Yeah,
guys are
that's
gonna
what
hang
I
out
was
together.
wondering too.
Nope. I'm just giving it to
Can we
her
roll
because she
around,
was...
like
Right.
differently? Like, can I be over there taking photos?
I am actually going to separate away from you guys so I can do my own little spirit box session so you have another piece of audio to listen to with my spirit boxes.
Okay.
So let me show you guys that video from the other night. Pretty nuts. So it was up in that corner and the group that had the thermal imaging, no, it was the person who had the spirit box, felt like they had a bunch of answers that were starting to be weird, and then they saw a shadow move by. I'm like, all right, let's go up and check it out. Let's debunk some things first. And then lo and behold, I watched the video at that same time frame, and we had 2 people show up in the picture that weren't supposed to be there. Sorry. I posted it, and I called everybody that I know. So what we're looking for here, there's going to be a wall. Start the video over. There's a wall in the background. 2 people are going to walk by at about 5 seconds. Do you see them? You see the
Yeah,
2
I see
heads?
heads.
So when he goes back over to that area, so when the
What
video,
color were the heads? I didn't see.
They were
the-
red.
the
They're
or-
red.
yeah, they were orange and red. So when he pans back over there, there's 2 heads going the opposite directions that are black. Looking at this upside down, it's a little difficult to see. It should be coming
Oh,
out.
I saw it. Yep. Dang, that's cool.
Interesting. Jeez.
I'm going to that corner.
That's exciting stuff for me.
Do you
You're going
ever
to the
get
corner.
much in like the slave quarter
got
part?
full red.
I do, but I can't verify any of it because there's no record of it.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
At least I can't find it. So I do
But
get
she
words
might
like,
tell us something.
She might, and it might not even be Eliza. Now a lot of
Oh,
times
yeah.
I'm going to separate from you, and I'm going to go straight after Charles. I know a couple of facts about Charles that I usually ask and provoke. That way I can see if he'll.
Why'd you do that, Mom? You scared me.
So funny. Yeah, you guys
Let's go
go.
wander.
I want to see where you guys go so I can go in the opposite direction.
Okay.
Eliza, what's your maiden name? Oh, I heard Gray or Grace or something.
Another question.
lot of times that's like you showing right up against that window. Kind of shows you that all the energy that's here is actually affecting that light.
Oh, her daughter.
Oh. Eliza, what's the name of your daughter?
What number did you hear?
96.
1793.
Oh. No.
But she did die on May 26th.
Is her middle name Gray?
Grace.
No. Not middle name,
I said
maiden
maiden name.
Maiden, not middle.
Oh, you said maiden name?
I said maiden
Is
name.
it Grace or Gray? Oh.
Oh, I heard. Is it the name of one of your daughters? Okay, bring
Here,
her.
here, large. She would like
Ask a question.
Eliza, how old were you when you died? At the table. Is that what it said?
It sounded like it.
At the table is actually an old gypsy term for reading playing cards, meaning at a meeting, which makes sense.
Was she into that kind of thing?
No, but she did die when she was out on a business trip.
Had a meeting. Kinda.
Oh look, oh look, oh look, that's good.
You have to ask for forgiveness.
I mean, a little bit more. I mean, we're at a point. I mean, we just discussed it. But Eliza, can you tell us how old you were when you died? Old man, I heard. We need a number.
Franklin?
Maybe we should move on.
Eliza, give us the number, the age you were when you died. Are you getting the gist of how that guy works over there?
Yeah.
So also, science major, you can also catch thermodynamics in reverse. So what does that mean? That means temperature can't be created or destroyed. It has to balance. So it's obviously, interesting. Got the word father. I don't think they're talking to Eliza. Because I was looking at Charles. 'Cause
So
I
maybe
did-
Charles is here.
my guess.
Eliza, how many rooms were in your mansion?
So if you see something grow in heat, just like I told you, you see
It
something.
goes somewhere else.
It goes somewhere else. So if this grows in heat, this drops in temperature.
Law of thermodynamics.
Exactly. So that's law number 2. So if you actually see something grow in heat in a very short amount of time, I don't want you to lose focus on it and try to find a cold spot. You'll never find it because it could be just dissipating in different areas. So really focus on that area growing in heat. I've caught it several times with that camera, and it's a super cool thing to watch because it would literally just go up
Like
like
15
10 feet.
degrees
Right,
or whatever.
exactly. In like 5 seconds. So,
Okay, well, I don't know if that's anything. You went from 80 to 93.
well, that's probably because there's different. My shirt is going to be a different temperature than my skin.
Okay, so maybe I'm like
Yeah, you
on
probably just
different
vary a
areas.
little bit.
Yep.
I got it. I don't think y'all are talking to Eliza.
Okay. Oh, it's not okay.
I think you're talking to Charles, the husband.
Oh,
Because we did get the word old man when we asked how old they were when Eliza died. And then I just got the word father.
oh.
So it's almost like a clue, like, stop talking to my wife. I'm right here.
Ask him how many wives he had.
Don't provoke him.
Well, that's just facts.
Well, we can do things like, turn mine. Let's turn yours down for a second. So, Charles, if you're actually hanging out with us, tell us what month you were born in. Charles, what month were you born? When's your birthday? Let's find another spot. Charles, what month were you born in? Trying to get this answer out of him over there while you guys are over here.
Maybe ask something to the slaves.
Huh?
The slaves.
Tell us what happened to the house. I don't care who it is. Tell us what happened to the house. What happened to the mansion? Come on, use the box in my hand to talk to us. We've done this before. What happened to the mansion? Eliza before her was Eliza Lamb. Lamb is in the end. The daughter's name was Harriet. Eliza died at the age of 70 in Philadelphia, where that's also where she's buried. And again, you guys know she was up there on a business trip at the age of 70 with breast cancer. So how about that for a strong woman, right? Charles, I told you, was born and died in October. He was also part of the Republican Party, so I usually listen for the word Republican, because it was a pretty big deal for him. And what other question? Oh, the mansion caught fire. So the reason why I go up to that corner is it caught fire on the second floor. So a lot of times I'll get the word upstairs or big fire, it blew up, you know, those kind of things. So we'll see what I actually capture extra out of the spirit box in the morning and see what I get out of it.
Okay.
We're going to go up about 4 blocks up to Lodge Alley. So by all means, take as many pictures as you want to. You can listen to your spirit box. If you're going to, we're listening for names. I'll explain when we get there. Your EMF's going to go crazy on East Bay Street because of the parking meters. Those lines for that are under the sidewalk and they're strong enough to touch your device. So we're talking about science. That was a conversation you and I had.
Hello.
We were talking about the laws of thermodynamics and something else for her to look out for on the camera. So you guys will hear that later when you watch your video, because it does capture
Don't cover
audio.
your finger on the hole.
No, it's on
She's
this
not.
side.
She's good.
Okay.
I'm watching. She's doing a good job. So we're actually, where are you guys going?
Oh, I thought you said we were going
This way.
Oh. We obviously don't know where we're going.
You're lost.
We're going to an hour.
It's definitely a mask up area if the restaurants are eating outside. It's
Okay.
Tuesday. We'll see how it goes.
Don't trip, Mom.
I know. Why are you telling me you're still teaching?
And a lift.
I should tell both of you guys. Somebody needs to tell me too.
Second floor is where it caught fire.
Is that light always going? No?
When it does, it comes out with the EMF. And even when it does, it's not in the same rhythm.
Oh, okay.
It could be flashing like a disco ball, or it could be a nice weak slow pulse. It just depends. Where are you guys staying at? And what are you doing after this?
Probably have dinner.
Down here or somewhere further inland?
I don't know.
What's down? I don't even know where we're at.
We're by the market.
Down Charles.
Yeah, tell us.
That was a little market, Mom.
We're talking like $50 a plate. Probably gonna have to go further inland.
Why would you recommend something, but we don't like seafood?
I don't either.
We were just talking about it.
Oh.
Over here, everything.
Yeah, everything down here is gonna be super pricey.
Oh.
But a couple blocks that way it gets better.
I don't eat out.
No.
Because most things in Charleston are gonna be expensive.
That. Eloquus is proven to reduce.
Also, we're just all picky eaters.
Yeah.
We have a vegetarian, 2 vegetarians. I don't eat
Uber
seafood.
Eats then.
Yeah.
You'll be just fine.
I don't eat seafood or pork.
I eat it all.
Yeah, she's the only good one.
I might be chicken.
That place is pretty popular for desserts after the tour.
Oh, I enjoy dessert.
By there.
What'd you say? I enjoy a good dessert.
Yeah.
Yes, apparently. You put it 3 times a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's not be happy.
So we eat chocolate and quesadillas, and that's it.
Hi.
Hey, didn't someone say that was good? The snob place.
Well, that's where we went by on the bus.
Where's the parking meters?
So,
Right there.
They're cut off.
again, all of our crosswalks, all the black on the ground.
Oh, here's parking meters.
So when we get to this alley, I want you to go ahead and grab 2 photos going down as long as nobody's down there.
Okay. Make sure nobody's taking a leak.
Hey, isn't this where we ate? No.
Hey, but I see a car in there. But the guy did say it today.
Bar?
It's way back there.
Class of 05.
Let's see. Oh yeah.
Wear mask in classes.
Okay. Mom. Oh, I just did it too.
Yeah, really.
This is one called MASHAWN. This is one of the oldest streets we have. When I say streets, it's because people lived here. So we're talking early 1700s. No, it was 1790 to 1890. Yes, sorry, I put all my years straight. Tell so many stories, you got to keep all the years. But yeah, people used to live here. These two buildings were not here, so they would have been shotgun homes here. Shoot through the front door, goes out the back door, kind of thing. I have the full list of residents of everybody that's ever lived here. That's why I was asking you to listen for names.
Okay.
I did get the name Dawn, but that doesn't even sound familiar on the list that I have. It's not a very long list. I also have their occupations. So in any event we hear like grocer, mariner, seamstress, things like that that pop up, it all makes complete sense. I have caught shadow people down here. I asked you for pictures because I get this weird green orb that shows up from time to time in random spots. Same shade of green every time.
I saw a car.
Just right there.
Maybe it was me.
You good there, Mom?
I don't know.
So, this is an interesting alley because the Freemasons used to also be down here too. So again, huge piece of our history sits in here. Many tools come down here. Again, it's more of a passing through than anything else. But the rest of our tools and gadgets, obviously we're getting filmed. We're not going to get much of an EMF here, so when it does occur, it's exciting. It's not going to be the Pinky Mansion excitement back by any means. It's more of a get a glimpse of it, get a little bit over into the next grade. The spirit box definitely listen. We are going to walk through the rest of this alley. None of you have crazy lasers or anything super loud, so the shadow people I have caught were either by the half wall. I did catch it with the digital camera and the thermal imaging camera. But that shadow person is basically somebody that's being, trying to manifest themselves, but because they're somewhat old, they hang out in the cooler area, the darker places. So when I see a full figure in the shape of a person, I call their shadow. So it's an interesting alley for sure.
Are there like air conditioning units or something in there?
That is a building, so it's probably going to be much colder inside there.
There's only a corner that's blue though. That's not, it doesn't look like there's anything there. To my eye. Of course I didn't.
May I? Let's see what I got going on.
And it's just that corner.
So, because that is off in the distance, it doesn't know what to make of it. It's kind of like if we were to look straight up. You see how the sky turns blue?
Yeah.
It's because it doesn't know what to measure up there.
Okay.
Because it's not a solid surface. So because that corner is still weird that it's in that same shape, but because that's off in the distance of whatever that machine is that we're looking at, that's what it doesn't know what to measure. It does say it's the ambient air around it is about 63, So it must be some kind of AC unit over there somewhere. That's a good catch.
Where are the shadow people usually?
So I found one time up here by the half wall, and it was just the wall was pretty much yellow because it was a hot night. So the shadow that came by was in orange, which means it's just a slightly different temperature. It wasn't one of us.
Okay.
So we would have been close in yellow or white.
His name is Colin. Colin and Eve. What about they help coughing? Like a physician. Something about coughing or sneezing. What did they say, Helen?
So down here, they did do the archaeological institute test. They found that the people were lower class. So they found some silverware and tools and such. So no physicians would have lived down here. It would have been them themselves that were probably.
What did you hear?
It was probably just like a commercial for like a cold or something.
But
It
that's
just said
okay.
sneezing and huffing.
But that's the thing. That's
Yeah.
what we want.
You have cough, good, please.
Right.
So if it's sneezing out, that's what she said.
So it would have been something, and I did get the term Ask Alice, and I want to say Alice was actually one of the names on that list.
Can stuff reflect off of like glass and windows?
Probably just
What's that?
you.
Can you
No,
would it?
it cannot see through glass and windows because it is a solid object, so it looks at it at its temperature only.
So like if you were standing by the door, it wouldn't like reflect off of, like your heat wouldn't.
My heat would reflect in it only if we had enough light for my shadow to be in there. If something on the other side of this door was causing it to get colder, then one of those panes would get colder and you would be able to see that.
But like if it was orange, it was probably one of us.
Yes,
Okay.
probably. More than likely. Did you catch something orange on there?
Yeah, but it was orange. So
I don't see us having enough light for my reflection to actually go there, so I'll definitely have to check the video.
see, I think this is me.
Okay.
Yes, you did. That's expensive.
I didn't drop it.
Just be mindful that they might not be. They're not hip to what kind of camera you're holding.
Yeah, so don't.
Kind of-
Oh, right.
They don't get. We can't identify them. They don't understand.
Yeah.
They're not cool like us. So.
So quit trying to get us in a fight.
Trust me, worst things have happened. So here's the skinny of Philadelphia alley. It used to be called Doors Alley. As in, take 20 paces, turn and shirt kind of doors. The story goes the doctor moved down here from Rhode Island. That might be the doctor you guys thought you may have heard, but I'm guessing that the sneezing and coughing you heard in the spirit box is actually due to those people sneezing and coughing.
Oh, okay.
That's my speculation, but of course I can't identify it.
Yeah.
I can't verify it. So the doctor was supposed to get married to his fiancée Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. The lawyer handling the money said, the two of you aren't getting married. I think you're just after her money. Tells Amanda to send the doctor away. comes to Charleston. As he's moving into town, the coachman that set him up, or the coachman that brings him in, set him up to be robbed and killed. Not a very good start. So somebody walking by, his name was Ralph Isaacs. Ralph says, "You don't want to stay here, let me take you somewhere else." He takes him over to 59 Church Street, which is diagonal that way, about 1.5 miles. So, oh, a monster. So anyway, him and Ralph become friends because Ralph essentially saved his life. So Ralph is just a regular Charlestonian. He's an attorney here in town. Attorneys back then weren't what we know of attorneys now, being well off and doing pretty well. So anyway, Ralph's practice, the doctor's practice, starts to take off. He's making a lot of money. A man is going to be moving down soon. He's making his point. He becomes known as the Whistling Doctor. So if you Google the Whistling Doctor, you get the very detailed point of this story. I'm giving you the pinpoints for your gadgets to be listening for.
Okay.
So, now, here's what happened. The doctor and Ralph used to go see plays together, but they couldn't sit next to each other because they were in different parts of society. Because the doctor was becoming wealthy, Ralph was not. They had to sit in different seats. It's kind of like going to see a movie with your friends and you can't sit next to them because they make more money than you. So they used to talk about these plays on the way home. They go see Richard III one night. They talk about the play on the way home, and the doctor loves the new actress. Ralph does not. They start arguing. It turns into an insult party on the doctor's fiance back home. So obviously the two get very mad at each other. They go their separate ways. And then I told you Ralph had ties to Charleston. He puts an ad in the paper that the doctor's a big disgrace to the city of Charleston. He's not from here. He's too expensive. He takes all of our money. The doctor rebuttals with, "Let's go to Dueler's Alley and settle this." Now the loser of a duel is normally what? Dead, right? The loser's not coming out. He would go through that doorway on that second far wall over there, through the courtyard, to the cemetery where there's some Phillips, where they drop him in, there's blood drain, and I'll get you closer to it. We're going to walk through it. And then we throw some dirt on him and then go celebrate the winner. That's not how this went down. So the doctor and Ralph go down there, they take their front case and they turn. The doctor points his gun in the air and he shoots. He didn't want to kill his friend. The doctor took 2 shots below. Ralph took 2 shots below the knees on the doctor. The doctor drops. His friends pick him up. Instead of going through the door, he goes home and dies 10 days later. Now, they say as you walk through here, you can hear the whistles of that doctor. So you have the audio piece. There's your fake one. So now you have a comparison to know what you're listening for. This is where you're going to crank it up. Like turn up your volume. It's going to be pretty faint. I only have 2 that I can't debunk. We have a lot of hecklers in town. They like to walk by the alley and give those fake whistles, so just kind of keep that in mind. Also, besides the really cool gate over there, the bricks, another little history nugget, the bricks we're going to walk on get older as we get to the edge. These ones were replaced and repaired in the 1990s, but down there we have sun-dried bricks from slave kids. We actually have their fingerprints in a lot of those bricks and in one handprint at the very end. The handprint, the thumb portion, goes into the next brick. So if you think about it, that brick had to go in wet. And then the poor kid did a "screw you, I don't want to do this anymore," and stamped his hand into that brick. If you really think about it, because there's no way he put his handprint on the brick and then put it in. It's more of a, he smacked his hands into it.
Oh.
So, if you want pictures of it, we have to be quick, just because it's outside somebody's home.
Okay.
So, it is a residence at the end there, so I do want you to listen to your spirit box, but when you see the 2 houses on your right, when I start pointing out the fingerprints on the ground, go ahead and cut it off, and we'll just have mine at that point.
Can we ask questions?
Yeah, you can.
What questions we can ask?
Where were
Are
you
looking at
shot?
me? You guys can ask questions
There's
too.
all kinds of stuff that pops up.
Who shot
What's the
you?
name of the child who put his
Yeah, do you know that?
hand?
So, can't verify.
So what can we verify?
Who shot you? Or
How many times were you shot?
Well,
Oh,
also keep in mind,
where
this
did
is
you
also
work?
where hundreds, if not thousands, of duels are taking place. So if you're going to ask questions like that, you need to address who it's to. So, hey Ralph, how many shots did you take? So this is the one duel we all talk about.
Can we ask him to
What's the
whistle us a
doctor's
tune?
name?
no, mother.
Why not? It might come up on another piece of audio.
Okay.
What's the doctor's name again?
Joseph Brown Ladd. I want you to also keep in mind that the initials of where the doctor came from, Rhode Island, are the same initials of the person who killed him, Ralph Isaacs.
Oh.
So we have R.I. It shows up often. Just saying.
Maybe ask who his fiance was. Or what her name was.
Yep.
Amber? Or Amanda? I was close. Steps. Oh, geez Louise, I should have warned myself.
So, this is probably the most peaceful, beautiful place in all of Charleston. This is one of my favorites. So, the fact that it's empty and not filled with tourists, grab as many pictures as you can, because normally this is
So
filled with tourists.
cute.
It's gorgeous down here. The Death Gate, if you wanted to check it out, is right up there to your left. I'm actually going to walk this way, so that way I'm not getting your audio on that piece. So,
And I'm looking for activity.
yep. You're going to get a little bit from the one business on the left-hand side. It's called the Footlight Players Club. That's the actor studio for Dock Street Theater. They leave their equipment on at night. So I debunked that pretty early when I started doing this. So, if you guys wanted to check that out, I'm just going to stay ahead of you.
Joseph, who shot you?
Can we get this?
I heard racist.
Oh, they probably were. Yeah.
Where? Yeah.
Ask if whoever said that
I
was a
heard
slave.
war. That was a Nicki Minaj song.
Berlin got the word racist, which is fair if there were slaves working in here. Oh, look at that dog! Look at that doggy, he's so big and chunky.
Mom, are you getting activity?
Can a shadow figure please show up on my camera?
Can what?
I would like a figure to show up on my camera.
Look at the leaves on this tree. They're all like bent together.
Ask Ralph what he worked as or whatever.
Do we know his job?
He was an attorney, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah. Ralph, what was your occupation?
It's kind of like
Girl, you know it.
Really? Wait, that's actually funny because you're like, do we know? And I was like, wait, that low-key kind of makes sense
Calling him
though.
out.
What was that?
I heard falling in love. Did like Ralph and Joseph have a little thing going on?
Well, they were arguing about Joseph's fiance, who he was still in love with.
I heard that.
What?
I get that.
Oh.
I was testing the sound. Pretty close.
Sober.
Ask what play they were seeing.
Joseph and Ralph, what play were you seeing the night you fought?
Who were they singing? Joseph, what was your fiance's name?
So what did you do?
Joseph, where are you from?
From the IRS.
I'm from
Wait, lawyer, attorney.
I'm from the IRS.
That's, you know, either that was perfectly timed or. That's so sad.
Mm-hmm.
Like a poem?
It almost looks like just a piece of broken brick.
Yeah.
Where does it
So,
start?
girl, you know it.
Which I did.
Yeah, we had just discussed it.
Mm-hmm.
The thumb's right here. The finger's right here. I think.
Unless the phone is over here.
Oh, she's got a few of them in there. It's the business. Tita, he said it's the business.
Playhouse or what?
What time do we get over? 9 o'clock?
I don't know.
He has another time.
He said 8:30.
But he said he doesn't really have to hold on for time. He just needs to do his next time.
That's cute.
Pretty sure that's Mars. We're supposed to be able to see Mars tonight.
Oh.
One last building to take a look at and investigate. Am I making a believer out of you?
There's weird things going on, yeah.
Always weird stuff going on down here. So the building over here, this is the Wagner building. That is condos in the back now, wedding reception area in the front. At least they're putting it under construction. But it used to be part of our cotton industry. It was a warehouse. And the offices for that warehouse were in the front. It faces East Bay Street. And again, Charleston much skinnier. The water would have been right pretty close to it, about a block away. Here's what happened there. The last guy who had it as a cotton warehouse, he inherited the business from his dad. No clue what he was doing. Silver spoon kid, got himself into a bunch of debt, and he blew through his inheritance pretty quickly. So, we also have the boll weevil in town. You guys know what a boll weevil is?
No. Dog or something.
Doesn't it like eat crops or something?
It eats cotton. Yep, that's exactly right. So, he's screwed. This guy, he's got to get out of the business altogether. So, instead of selling this cotton to the Americans, where his debts are, and giving them infested crops, he sells it to the British. Very smart guy, right? I don't know who Leah is, by the way. I see you looking at the name. So he sells it for a cheaper price. He doesn't have enough money to pay off all his debts, but he's going to get out of the business. But we're not there right now. So anyway, he watches from the second story. Your online stories, by the way, if I give you links to this, we'll say the third story, but everything that I do here wraps around the number 2.